back painting some more fish scales. As you can see, I've completed quite a bit more work on the Sea King. Kind of jumped ahead a little bit. I wanted to paint in all of the seaweed and coral and do some of the details. I often kind of jump around on the model and try to get at least some of the color onto all of the different parts, so that will give me a better idea about what the final result will be. Like, colors, they only really exist in relation to one another and in relation to their surroundings. So sometimes if I'm not quite sure what to do next on a part, I might fill in the parts around it. And now I've kind of decided I want to come back to the fish scales and add some stripes. If you check out the reference for these scales, the mackerel fish, it has this really amazing tiger stripe pattern on its back. So we're going to paint it in to some of these darker areas. The tiger stripe is really quite a bit darker and actually kind of a flatter finish on the back of the mackerel, and this acts as a camouflage for it. And we're going to use a really dark blue paint that's also a bit of a flat finish to paint the mackerel stripes. The paint we're using is called Payne's Gray. It's golden heavy body acrylic paint, not Payne's Gray ink, which we've used in some previous videos, but this is a paint. It's a heavy body paint. Alright, I think right here is like a perfect spot to paint in some of those tiger stripes, mackerel stripes. Let's just make sure we're focused in. I think I want it to be better coverage than that. Just paint in another layer. Yeah, I like how that's looking. I might even mix in a little bit of Van Dyke Brown with the Payne's Gray, and that'll make it even blacker. Might use a little bit of that if I'm painting into the shadow areas. And then as it comes out into these highlight areas where it gets more silvery, it actually just kind of fades out. You can kind of give the hint of a stripe. You can just fade it with the second brush. Let's do that on the other side. This is one of the reasons why it's great to look at reference, because you get all sorts of cool ideas. Why not try to mimic nature? It's always a good challenge. You find some really amazing ideas. We're just going to continue on down. just some little stripes. It's going to make them even more striking. Yeah. There we go. That looks pretty rad. Let's do a few more. Why not? Just make the stripes and then quickly come in with your second brush and blend the ends of each of those stripes. I'll tell you, that second brush is really handy. I keep on finding all sorts of new things to use it for. Yeah. Doing these textures is just one of them. And if you haven't learned how to use the two brushes yet, you can check out some of the other videos in the elective section about the two-brush blending method. And you can learn to two-brush yourself. It's really it just takes a little bit of practice, a commitment of just a couple models, and a little bit of study, and you'll be two-brush blending like a pro. I really recommend it. It can help you paint faster and more freely. At least that's been my experience. Now because this paint is kind of flat and opaque, it will not only contrast with the finish of the scales, but it'll also kind of cover up the metallic sheen and create a nice contrast. Fish, mackerel uses this contrast to break up it as a camouflage, to kind of confuse the eye, to break up its lines. We can put it on there just to make it look cool. Sometimes it's these little details that really make a paint job. It can be really fun to paint and add just a ton. As you can see, it's not really that difficult to do. It's kind of coming in with that second brush and pulling gently. Blend. A little different than what's shown in the video. This is more blending the ends of these lines, so you can kind of do that pulling motion and get away with it. Yeah, it's going to look really nice. And that Payne's Gray acts as a nice backdrop for these barnacles coming out of his shoulder. We'll cut out. I think we'll use a nice emerald ink to paint these gemstones. At least this. You know, it might be kind of cool to have a few different colors. Just cold ink colors. I think that's what we'll do. This one will be green. Emerald green ink by De Laroni is the name of the ink. Emerald green by De Laroni. Really is a powerful green color. I love that. I also have this Roni blue, which is even probably the most powerful blue ink I can find. It's a nice jewel tone. Oh yeah, super, super blue. That looks awesome. Yeah, so once you put the ink in there, we can kind of come back with a little titanium white and make some glinting highlights. Pretty nice. This is like the light reflecting. So keep your light source in mind when putting these lights in. I think I'll do a purple one as well. This is a Purple Lake ink. Also by De Laroni. It's this really warm purple. It's really nice. Got one more gem here. Let's see, we just a little ink in there. And get a nice saturated color. I'll just come in with that titanium white again for these other gems. Seeing the edge, maybe a little light coming through the gem there. On this side, maybe a little reflection. That side's facing the light source, whereas this side's kind of the other side of the light source. So the light would be down there. So that side gets the reflection, the other side gets the light shining through. Thing over here, a little light shining through. As long as you keep your light source in mind, these gems can be pretty fun to paint. Not that hard. Once you get the idea of it and a little bit of practice. The gems are hard to paint if you're not painting with a light source, so it's all the more reason to just start painting with that light source in mind. You'll really find that helps your painting really look a lot better. Alright, for this last bit, I think I want to add a little bit more interesting texture in this area here. Not really too much going on. It's kind of close to the color of the sailcloth, so I want to kind of add some little extra details. So we're going to take a little sap green, mix that with a tiny dab of alizarin crimson. That will desaturate it a bit. When you mix colors that are opposite on the color wheel, like crimson and green, you get desaturation. And it will kind of look a little bit more brownish. Now we're going to use the two brush blending method to kind of blend a tint into the base. This little fin. Yeah, I like how that's looking. It's a good start. But I think it's a little bit too close to the color of the seaweed. So I think we'll do another layer over top of this. First, we just kind of want to put this that blend onto all the fins. Alright, now that it's all in there, I think we'll take a little bit of Van Dyke Brown, mix that with some of the crimson, some of that sap green, and put some little dots. Just a little dot pattern. Again, I would kind of concentrate towards the base. Yeah. That'll add that additional texture and also some blending. So you can have a textured blend or you can have a smooth blend. Both can look really good. Just depends on the effect you want. Slowly just start making some shapes, some little dots, some little groups of dots, until you're happy with the texture. I think I might even do another layer of the sap green ink. Just glaze over top of that. Oh, it's a little thick. Oh, there we go. Just a little water to thin it out. It's starting to look pretty nice. Now I can see that the sailcloth and the fins are properly distinguished from one another. These little fins up here too. Can't forget the fins on the top of his head here. We can just use that for a little review. First we kind of put that sap green in. Come in with our mixture. Put in some dots. Gotta let that dry. Nice. Well, I hope you really enjoyed seeing how all those fish scales are painted and how we do all those techniques. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down there in the comments section. I'll make sure to get to all of those. Well, until the next time, we paint bravely, friends.